Welcome to Georgia Life Sciences Podcast, bringing you the latest insights and innovations from Georgia's life sciences industry. I'm your host, Maria Thacker Goethe, President and CEO of Georgia Life Sciences, formerly known as Georgia Bio, and I'm excited to take you behind the scenes with industry leaders, innovators, and policymakers shaping the future of biotech and medtech across the Peach State. Please note that our organization has recently rebranded from Georgia Bio to Georgia Life Sciences. While earlier episodes may reference Georgia Bio, we are now operating under our new name, Georgia Life Sciences, reflecting our broader commitment to the life sciences community. Thank you for your understanding as we transition to this exciting new chapter. Welcome to BioB, Georgia's Life Sciences Podcast. I'm Maria Thacker, and we're excited to be at the Georgia Life Sciences Summit today. On day 2, and we're almost wrapping up the session. Today, I'm going to close out our podcast recordings with Jon Getzinger, CEO of FERMWORX. You may not have heard about FERMWORX, but we're really excited to help you get to know them because they're a big company that's growing here in Georgia. Jon, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I've been getting to know you in these last months as we've been working on some grants together, but it's been really exciting to learn more about the company and the capacities you have. But before we dive into that, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role there and
Sure.
Your career path?
I'm CEO of the company, so basically chief cat herder. And from my end, I guess I've had a bit of career attention deficit disorder in my life. I go to things that I find interesting, not necessarily a straight career path, but things that I'll find exciting. And they tend to be things that either I can fix or I can grow. Mm-hmm. So I'm like the last guy you want to put into a sort of a large company and ask them to optimize something. I want to go into something that's got some issues or maybe some growth opportunities, but they've lost their way. Mm-hmm. And that's what I tend to do. So I would say that FERMWORX has fallen directly into that category. It's a company with great possibilities, just scratching the surface of what really is a new industry for the U.S. On the bio side. And it's been, I'd say, quite challenging for us to be able to find our way in Georgia in terms of finding the right personnel. Mm-hmm. Making sure that we find the right customer base that's a fit for our capabilities, and then allow the company to take off and realize its dreams.
No, that's great. So you bring, talking a bit more about the company, what is it you exactly do? Like what are the...
Sure. So we do a lot of biopolymers. Mm-hmm. We make our own products, but we also look to do what would be contract manufacturing for those that are attempting to scale.
Okay.
So we've talked to approximately 150 companies or so in the last 2.5 years. Oh, wow. Some of those have been great fits. Some of those there's no way we're ever going to be able to figure out how to make their process work, and everything in between. Oh. And, for us, that's been kind of the fun part of this role, is finding out there are so many possibilities on the biological side of things. And then the challenging part of that is how do you incorporate those and make sure that they're economically and commercially feasible.
Yeah, no, definitely. So remind me, how long has FERMWORX been here in Georgia now?
FERMWORX has been here in different iterations for about 12 years. So I'd call us a late stage startup. Okay. In its current form, which is managed by Gradia Capital, we've been around for about 4.5 years.
Okay. All right. And where is the facility located?
The facility is located in Columbus, Georgia. So we're about 80 minutes south of the Atlanta airport. Straight shot, easy to get to. Nobody's ever heard of us. No, well, we're going to hope to change that because there's a lot of great opportunity there. So, and what does the facility look like? I mean, it's a pretty large facility, right? It is acreage-wise. So we're on just under 30 acres. Mm-hmm. On that site, we've got everything from pilot labs that start at 3 liters all the way up to multiple pilot plants. And we've got a new pilot plant that will be an additional 5,000-gallon vessel size that the Department of Defense just announced. So we're excited to have really what I would call mid-scale manufacturing capabilities at the pilot plant level. We have the ability to bring a third one of those online. Oh, wow. And between the 3-liter size and the, call it 17,500 working volume size, we've got 5 iterations in between. So we can pretty well size whatever capacity we need for a particular partner. Wow, that's really interesting. What kind of workforce do you need for that? And I mean, how many people does it take to run this facility? Yeah. It actually takes a lot fewer than you would think. Mm-hmm. From our end, we started this with about 55. Now, that's sort of ebbed and flowed depending on what the demand is for our products. But for instance, right now we're in the process of trying to hire 5 more people. Mm-hmm. So that would be 4 more operators for the 4 shifts we have. and one more quality tech that would be doing lab analysis to make sure that what we're growing in our fermenters or being prepared in the downstream processing meets specifications.
Wow. Okay.
And the challenge there for us has been that there aren't a lot of, I would say, individuals with a lot of manufacturing experience, and certainly not any that would have basic chemical background, like understandings of simple things like pH and how to make adjustments and such. So for us, we tend to home grow our own talent at this point, but we are excited about the opportunity to see the state more involved, and certainly the universities and the tech schools being able to help out with that. I would call it almost like a base skill set that we could then bring in and hone according to what our needs would be.
Yeah. No, I know. I talked to a lot of university students, and sometimes the four-year students are looking for ways to supplement their four-year degree. And I always encourage them to look at the technical schools because they may have that biology degree, but there are the opportunities in manufacturing. They just need to get some of those, basic things that they need to understand to work in these facilities, and they'll really be attractive to companies like yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the idea of, and I think, we're partnering, and others are too, to help build that capacity and collaborate together to help all ships rise in manufacturing, hopefully, with efforts around with like Biomade, for example. So can you speak to partnerships like your DoD one potentially, or others that like how that helps you? And,
Sure.
and yeah, just a bit more about that.
Well, the Department of Defense is obviously very concerned about its supply chain resilience. I think that was first highlighted during COVID. Of course. And now if you look at a lot of the materials that the government needs for its, whether it's going to be fuels or it's what they would basically call fitment materials, fibers and such. A lot of those products are coming from adversarial nations. For instance, isoprene, 85% of that comes from Russia.
Okay.
Now, that can be made here in the U.S., but we've certainly gotten away from that. And the process would normally have been a petrochemical process. There is certainly a move afoot, especially with the current administration, to do things in a more bio-based process than a petroleum-based process. So whether we're augmenting the current process or replacing it, obviously from our end, doesn't matter as much as the actual ability to bring that new capacity and capability online should the government need it to fight a war.
No, definitely. And I've been reading a lot of articles about the future is going to be the bioeconomy. And I realize I'm biased in this industry where we work just a bit, but a lot of it's just where things are moving as we see, cultural efforts to move towards more sustainable ways of, creating lots of things, frankly.
Of course.
But we didn't touch about your products. Tell me a bit more about the FERMWORX product.
Sure. Yeah. So we made a series of dextrans, and dextrans can be used in a variety of different applications. But I think what I've been excited about are some of the partner products that have come in. And we've done everything from food-based products going into meat analogs, if you will, basically fake meat.
Fake meat, yep.
On over to, as
that
we mentioned. That just
got approved in Florida, is that right? I forget which state it got approved in.
Yeah, that would be more of the molecular-based. Ours is going to be more, we've done things like mycelium-based and products that are coming from more of, I would call it standard bacterial processes that have been modified.
I don't know if I want to know the science. I just want it to taste good in the end.
And I think, my prior experience coming just before this was building North America's largest pea protein company. Okay. So I certainly have an interest in seeing, I would say our economy shift a little bit from the more agrarian and ranches, cattle, that sort of thing, chickens, pigs, into something that's going to be easier for the planet to be able to handle. And so I enjoy seeing these new products coming into the fold. But then we've got other products that are being more focused around things that are helping livestock live healthier lives. It's just interesting, the vast array of potential partners that have come through our door in the last 2 years.
Yeah. No, I do find that a lot of our contract manufacturers have such a wide variety of partnerships and products they work on. It's really fascinating. And a lot of them are at people's dinners tables or in their house already, and they just don't realize it. How much life science and biotech touches their everyday life, and they just don't realize it. And that's what we hope to try and educate through this podcast and other efforts. So, just wanted to keep this short and sweet today, but this has been really fascinating conversation. Is there anything you want to add about FERMWORX or about your experience, like why you're in Georgia and everything?
Well, I think from our end, we basically started out as a brownfield site. So it was a site that at one point had been a Glidden coatings factory.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And they had shuttered the doors. Mm-hmm. So there was an opportunity to take that site that obviously had no more employees, was not there for taxes anymore, or the ability to generate taxes, did nothing for the local economy, was able to turn that into a fully functioning site that's doing some pretty cutting edge stuff. Yeah. And I think there's probably plenty of sites like that in Georgia that allow companies like ours to come in and for modest amounts of dollars be able to turn the tap on biomanufacturing. Mm-hmm. And certainly once that's been proven out, then it's easier to go out and do greenfields and do more site-specific equipment that's going to be around larger processes. But for right now, it's kind of cool. We're just basically a big lab experiment going on every day over there.
You mentioned workforce challenges, Jon. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, particularly when it comes to the manufacturing job and the perception of that?
Well, I grew up in Michigan, which was certainly, Detroit Motor City capital. Yeah. That was an area where, I don't know if you want to call manufacturing jobs sexy, but people knew if they had those jobs, they were going to pay well. You could raise a family. You'd be able to have a good quality of life. And somehow we've kind of lost our way in the U.S. around manufacturing. It's certainly no longer considered sexy. In some ways, people actually look down or frown upon manufacturing jobs. And I think there's also a piece now, because that's not enculturated for a lot of younger people. The first time they're on a manufacturing site, the first time they walk onto, for instance, our plant site, and they hear the noises and the sounds and the hard hats and the steel-toed shoes, they're a little bit shell-shocked. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a piece, once again, where we can start to bring back a little cool factor to manufacturing, especially as we do things that are new to this world, things that have never been created before, that really do make a difference for people on the planet. And certainly that's FERMWORX motto. I mean, if you look at our website, it's sparse, and it's sparse for a reason, because every day we change. But FERMWORX, the tagline, for you, for the planet. Okay. And there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that we bring others into the fold and start to drink the Kool-Aid like we are. Yeah, no, and it's good Kool-Aid. I mean, especially here in Georgia, some of the highest paying jobs in the state. I think we're the highest paying industry overall, but definitely higher paying in the manufacturing space. And also there's a lot of skill growth that y'all put a lot of training into your employees, not just you, but everyone in the industry does. And the ability to grow and have transferable skills, even, because some of these skills can be moved across different areas in the industry. So, the biomanufacturing is the future of manufacturing. And there's a lot of great skills people can pick up. I'm excited about the work we're doing to partner more effectively with the technical system as an industry, and frankly, also just try to make a bit more noise about the exciting opportunities that places like FERMWORX. So, any last comments? We just appreciate what you guys do every day. I hope you know that. No, we do. Thank you so much, Jon. And thanks for staying for 2 full days of Summit. It's really good to see you and chat with you. I know you need to get back home, and I'm sorry I may not have, you can still avoid traffic. So, can you ever do that in Atlanta? I don't know. It was pretty rough this morning, but thank you again for joining us for BioBeat, Georgia's Life Sciences podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Georgia Life Sciences podcast series. If you enjoyed the conversation, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more listeners like you. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. For more insights into Georgia's thriving life sciences community, be sure to visit us at galifesciences.org. And thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.